Hey, what's going on, guys? This is going to be the P3 Mythic Sark guide. There's a lot to go over here. I'm going to try to section the YouTube video into chapters so you can kind of quick seek into different portions of the fight. How we're going to approach P3 is we're basically going to cut it up into different sections and try to prog each section at a time, trying to look at P3 as a holistic entity. To prog on all at once just isn't realistic. It's a fairly long phase with very, very precise movement and positioning and execution for everyone on the raid team, as well as, the obvious DPS checks. So Mythic changes, there's honestly not a lot of Mythic changes other than the black holes that spawn from going downstairs and the fact that there are some very, very bad overlaps that we have to deal with. We are going to be doing the go down strat in P3. It is an easier DPS and HPS check if we do that. It is just a harder raid coordination check. But I think it's worth it if we can execute it properly. In this phase, melee, you don't have to worry about baiting anything at this point. You should be really good to go to kind of avoid swirlies on the ground and make sure you're just maximizing your uptime on the boss. Ranged, you are going to be baiting stuff as well. You're going to be baiting those void bombs still in this phase. And so call out for melee, you will need to have very, very specific positioning in some portions of the fight, but you don't have to bait anything specifically in P3. So let's take a look to see what it looks like. So this is going to be the start of P3. Like I went over in the P2 video, we're going to basically have one pillar in the top middle. We may have a second pillar here, so we may have two permanent pillars in P3. That should be okay with our gear and our healers. We should be able to handle two permanent pillars in P3. So this is kind of what the platform is going to look like as we start P3. All of the P1 black holes are going to be gone. The P2 pools are going to still be there, and then the P2 intermission pools that we just planted are still going to be there as well. All right, so when we start the phase, Xert and Therapy are going to be up before everybody else. They're going to go ahead and pull in the boss towards just inside of the nasty circle here on the glass, stained glass portion of the room. And everyone else is going to come up. There's going to be ads that spawn. We basically just need to make sure we're AoE stunning them and cleaving them down on top of the boss. It's nothing crazy with those, right? Just making sure we're getting kicks or stuns, cleaving off a Sark. So I'm not going to talk a whole lot about the ads, just that we have to take care of those throughout the fight. I'm also not going to mention after this particular instance, but we get the barrages, the same thing we get on Heroic, and I think on Normal. We get those on Mythic as well, and we get them throughout the fight. You just always need to point them away from the raid. I have it visualized here one time, but I'm not going to go over talking about every single time they spawn throughout this presentation. So the very first set of mechanics that happen, we get a black hole and we get the first set of void bombs. So remember, ranged are the people that need to bait the void bombs here. So whoever gets the black hole, we're going to team soak this, but it's only going to be the tanks and the melee. So whoever gets it, you're just going to run into the tank and melee group to place the black hole. In range, you're going to be baiting the void bombs as you have been since the start of P2. Same way, right? So I'm just visualizing here the two people that get the barrage. Make sure you're taking that out. Here are the void bombs, and the explosion is going off at the same time, the black hole and melee. What I have currently assigned for these set of bombs is Ember and Koosh. For the immunities that you'll be able to provide later, and I can talk about that when we get there. But essentially, you're going to be getting these void bombs, and you're going to be trying to find swirlies that are in the safe zone in the left quadrant. Not the safe zone, but like the bomb zone. And I think I have an overlay here. Yes, so we want to try to place and find swirlies in this area, in this phase, right? This is platform management. We want to try to keep the instant kill holes away from the center of the platform. So Ember and Kush and the other folks who are going to be getting the void bombs for the rest of the fight, you're going to be trying to find swirlies that are over in this P2 portion of the map. Okay. So after those bomb individuals go down, the next mechanic is going to be the hide. The really good part about this is we're going to have one nice safe spot through the center of the platform going all the way down. So our only job here is to hide and dodge swirlies. Don't stand in swirlies. Don't get hit by the swirlies. It's really, really important not to get hit by mechanics in this phase for the go down strat, because you need a very, very specific amount of stacks. And if you go down too early, say if you get hit by 2 swirlies while you're hiding and you go down, you're going to put a black hole right in the middle, and that's probably going to kill people. So range, you can go back in, we're going to hide, all the good stuff. The next mechanic here is probably the hardest or second hardest portion of P3. We get 3 mechanics all at once. We get the second black hole that we're going to deal with. We get the Ascension, which is the first one we actually experience, but it's the second one in P3 because Zert is dealing with the first one while we're all downstairs in the intermission. And then we have the first set of knockbacks. So in P3 and in Mythic, you actually get 2 bomb dispels in P3 for this first iteration. And how we handle this is the tank, who is currently tanking Sark, is going to pull him into mid, and he will start his Dark Ascension cast. We get our 2 bomb targets. So there's the Dark Ascension. We get our 2 bomb targets, and someone gets targeted with a black hole. So a lot of stuff happening with this first bad overlap. To deal with all of these at the same time, as soon as we see the graphic or the cast go off for Ascension, we're going to have a mass dispel on the 2 targets that have the bomb. And positioning here is super important with this gate. And we're going to have everyone who doesn't have the bomb on the outside portion of the gate here, and everyone who does have the bomb on the inside portion of this gate. But everyone should still be in range to click the gate. Because as soon as the mass dispel goes off, we'll be able to all use the gate, including the people who got dispelled, and we will all get launched over here. So that will negate the knockback. It will get us out of the Ascension, and it will have us all perfectly stacked and ready to soak the black hole and place the next set of pillars, all in a very tight stack. So after we take the gate, the person that has the black hole is going to stand on the gate, and everyone else is going to get slightly to the outside, because as soon as the black hole explodes, you're going to slightly run out and spawn the pillars. Okay, so that's the first bad overlap. So we'll talk about the next portion of P3 here. It is going to be the next set of bombs. So tank, melee, you're going to go back into the center. Ranged, you're going to be baiting the next set of void bombs out on the outside. These 2 void bombs are going to be the 2 Aug evokers. Hopefully by this point we haven't procced our cheat death, because again, that's probably important later. We get the next black hole here as well. So just like the first set, we get the black hole with the bombs at the same time. Now this is why we sent Kush and Ember down, because how Black Hole works is it will always attempt to target someone with 0 stacks of Oblivion. So when you go downstairs, your stacks of Oblivion reset. So if Ember or Kush still have their 0 stacks of Oblivion at this point, it will target one of them. And then this way, we can guarantee an immune to go Black Hole, soak, and destroy the pillars we just created there on that tight stack. During this, the Evokers are going to go ahead and bring their stuff into the place bomb zone. Remember, this fancy little place over here, to basically keep the safe zone nice and safe, which is kind of the center and bottom right portion of the platform at this point. And then we're going to go ahead and hide for the second time. So, easy stuff. At this point, we are focusing on dodging swirlies. We are focusing on hiding. And the 2 people that went downstairs are focusing on placing their bombs when they explode in that left area, that P2 area of the platform. At this point, we're going to have our next Black Hole. It will more than likely target one of the Evokers that just went down. If it did, what we can do is essentially just call an external, like a sacrifice or any sort of DR, and either run out to the left here and solo soak it and hope we have the cheat death proc, or it'll just be a sacrifice and a battle res at that point. If the raid is really healthy, we can choose to completely soak this as a raid as well, but I will make that call as we're progging. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go into the next knockback into the next set of bombs. So this knockback is only a single person. It is a single target dispel. You're just going to want to go over kind of towards Diamond area, and you're going to want to knock back the raid into the safe portion of the map, which is the safe-ish zone, right? So like this whole area is where you want to try to knock people back to. We're going to go ahead and get the dispel here, and range is going to stay out and bait the next set of void bombs. Again, there's the safe zone. Next set of void bombs are going to get baited, and we're going to give these to 2 trusty individuals. I have it assigned currently to Klops and myself. And now we're going to go into the final portion of P3. That is the go down strat. So at this point in the fight, everyone needs to have at least 5 stacks of Oblivion. You get 5 stacks per swirl you soak in P3. And you get 1 stack for every mechanic you get hit by. So if you have 4 stacks or less, you need to make sure you get hit by 1 swirly before we go into the little dance that we're about to do here. So this is the go down strat. We're all going to stack in the middle, and he's going to cast Ascension. During this Ascension, we will all have to stack on 1 person, and as of right now, it's going to be me. I will call out, look for me, look for me. I'm going to find a swirly, and we all have to find the exact same swirly towards the outside portion of the map. I will more than likely be looking at like the top right portion here, like above X, to have us all stack and go down at the same time. It's basically the same thing that we're doing in the intermission to start P3 at this point in the fight. Except this time, Therapy won't have his bop anymore, so it's going to have to be Cyrus. So right before we go down and get hit by that last swirly, Cyrus is going to bop Zert, and Zert stays up top and baits that last pillar and negates the rest of the mechanics. So I'm going to say stack on me, look for the swirly. I'm going to run out to it, and everyone needs to stack on that exact same swirly to get hit by that swirly, to all go down at the exact same time. Zert will then go and bait the last pillar. We will all go downstairs, And we don't have to deal with the next couple pieces of mechanics while we all go get 10 stacks of haste buffs. And let Zert do his thing. Zert will go ahead and bring him back into mid. We're all going to come up. We're going to get one last black hole here. This is going to most likely be a sacrifice. We can all soak it as well. Depends on raid health. But that's just going to be an on-the-fly call as we're going. And at this point, we have a hide, and then the boss is usually dead at this point. This last hide is basically a little burn phase, and we're pretty much killing the boss at this point. If we're still needing some damage on the boss, there'll be a couple more mechanics that happen after this, which is a dispel and another black hole. But we can handle those as we usually do, where we just dispel on diamond. So that's the entirety of P3, and that's when we kill the boss. So good luck, everybody. I'm going to hopefully cut this into a few different chapters so we can take it one chapter at a time for P3. Think of P3 as not one big amalgamation of a phase. It's a lot of little pieces that we're going to need to prog on as we go through and see it. So thanks for watching the video. I know this one's a little bit long, but it's a very, very complicated and long phase. So see you next time, everybody.